Well, hello and welcome back to our look at Tiffin University football. Hi, everybody. I'm Snyder, voice of the Dragons. To my right, head football coach Brett Ekkens. And, Coach, our first time to do this after we had a game in the books, and the Dragons got a victory on a Thursday night. We'll talk about the game here in a minute, but first off, hi, how you doing?
Doing well today.
So let's talk a little bit. I want to take you back to Wednesday last week. Let's get back to, say, when you got home on Wednesday evening after practice. Take us through your evening. Were you able to get any sleep before? Because your first game as head coach, there had to be some, not saying nervous, but some nerves in the belly and stuff. Take us back to Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday night was a great night, actually. We had our team meal after practice, and then we ended up, the athletics department threw a big festival type thing. We called it Hype Night for the fall sports out in the courtyard, and it was a great night. We celebrated all the fall sports and all the sports here in general. So our kids got to have a little bit of fun. They got to enjoy and play some yard games, and it was a great night. So by the time I got home, honestly, at that point, my feelings and my thoughts before a game, we had done everything that we could do at that point, and I slept pretty well on Wednesday night. Thursday night, my mind was racing after the game and all the things we could do.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda type things.
But Wednesday, I slept pretty well.
So that's a fun thing for the kids to do on that hype night, because they're student athletes, but that night they just got to be students, got to be kids, go out and have some fun with their fellow classmates and stuff. Good times.
Yeah, it was a great night, and our athletics department did a great job putting on the event.
And then Thursday, game day. Was it difficult for the later start on your first game? Like, you were probably, man, I was just sort of in a noon game, get this thing going. It's a little bit difficult trying to keep your emotions in check and keep it's a long day.
Yeah, I'm honestly glad it was a home game. Our student athletes went to class until they got out at 2 for our team meal, and from there it was pedal to the metal all the way till game time. But honestly, I was happy it was a home game. I was able to catch up with some desk work for myself and occupy my day and my mind a little bit and watch some more film. But yeah, you'd like it to be a noon kickoff and not have to sit there all day. But honestly, it was good. We played on Thursday. We got 2 days of rest time and recovery time for our student athletes after that, before we got to work on Lenore Ryan.
Well, the kids having class that day, and it's those habits that are being formed during the school year. We know as well as all athletes are students of habit. And now you're into a game week, so now you get to get into the normalcy of the football season now a little bit. So let's get into a look at last week's game, and then we'll get ready for Lenore Ryan. And you brought in a GLIAC opponent in Wayne State University, a team who's had success in the past. They're trying to build themselves back up to that success now. And a game that the Dragons ended up winning by a couple of touchdowns, but early on, by courtesy of their defense, they put you behind the 8 ball early on.
Yeah, they did. They came out on fire, and they sacked us on our first third down and forced a turnover. Our defense responded. We talk a lot about sudden change, and our defense came out in a sudden change moment, held them to a field goal, and then offense came back on the field and ended up taking the ball down the field, having a great drive, and really checking into the game there. So you never want to see that in your first in your first possession of the season. But I thought the response from our student athletes, our guys, was really good. And we talked a lot throughout the week about how the game wasn't going to be perfect. We were it was week 1. There was going to be things that we would screw up, and that was one of them. And I liked the resolve of our team, though, coming back from that turnover.
It's not the last play, it's the next play, right?
Correct.
And it was interesting on that play when Alex got hit. He took quite a hit. That blitzer actually fell down on his way in there, so maybe that little stutter he had gave him the timing to actually give Alex that shot. And it was good to see the quarterback bounce up, because, like I said, he took one heck of a shot. That
It's never good. Our running back was supposed to be in protection, and the linebacker fell on the snap, so he checked himself out, and linebacker got up and gave quite a hit to Alex. But honestly, I think it was the jolt or the spark that we needed. It fired up our defense, and then our offense came back out and executed well.
Defense responded all day for you. I thought they played a really good football game. And you said the offense came back and responded. It was Ronald Blackman, the first Dragon to get in the end zone this year. A 36-yard pass from Alex Johnson. The kick was good. 6 plays, 75 yards, 335. Take us through that play, scoring play.
Yeah, it was a great play, and Ron's been awesome throughout spring ball and through camp. So it was good to see him do what he's done in practice so many times, and that's be explosive. He took a screen got behind our offensive line. We had 3 O-linemen out and did a great job making the last couple guys miss. But it was a great play, and again, the spark we needed. Really exciting to have an explosive play result in a touchdown. And there's a couple ways that you can score, but I was pleased that we drove the ball for a bit and then scored on an explosive.
Yeah, 6 plays, 75 yards, 3.5 minutes off the clock, and a scoring play like that. It's great to see the offensive linemen getting out and doing their thing, creating a space for athletes to be athletes, and Ronald Blackman finding the end zone. At the end of the first quarter, the Dragons have a 7-3 lead. Tiffin, the only team that scored in the second quarter of this game. And again, it was Ronald Blackman. Again, it was on a pass, this time from Johnson again, 5-yarder, a 3-play, 10-yard drive. Didn't need much work to do that time, only a minute and a half to get to that score, or to get to the end zone. Talk about what led to the Dragons' possession in that scoring play.
Yeah, again, it's a team game, and I think defense and offense, we as much as the offensive turnovers, which we're going to get to, I'm sure, were a low light of the night. The ability for us to play team football was there all night.
Right.
So we played well off of one another. Again, Ron got in the end zone, found the end zone, and we did a great job with our plan. Coach Zach Blair, our offensive coordinator, had a great game plan, and so did Coach Daniels, our defensive coordinator. So they planned well off one another, and we really tried to go into this game with us all understanding as a team what we needed to do, and that was an example of it.
And just to back up your point about Ronald, Wayne State's radio crew, I could hear them, and they were very impressed with Ronald Blackman. They were saying he's going to be giving GMAC teams fits all season long, and I think the Dragons got a lot of athletes who are going to be giving GMAC opponents fits all season long. So the Dragons led at 14-3 after the first half. Into the third quarter, your tight end, Joey Zalewski, a 23-yard pass from Johnson, a 1-play, 23 yards, only 10 seconds off the clock, and the Dragons, again, taking opportunities and turning them into points.
Yeah, it's great to get Joey the ball, and what he did is he did a great job of showing us and showing everybody else what he can do with the ball in his hands. So, he's a tight end for us. He's a tough kid and a physical blocker, but he's also a threat in the slot, and he's a threat from being in that off position. So it's great to see him get the ball and what he did with it from there. Those are the things that in practice, if you're in thud or whiz tempo, a couple of the tempos that we use in practice, sometimes you don't see. Right. These guys will tag off, but his ability to find the end zone there was really good for myself and the rest of our coaching staff.
Oh man, a tight end that can get things done for you can be a huge weapon in an offense, that's for sure. Fourth quarter, the Dragons scored one more time, and it was a big play. Jalen Thomas, a 70-yard pass from Johnson, a 1-play. Boy, the Dragons not need a lot of plays today. That's courtesy of their defense. As you said, it's all team football, but that was the final score for the Dragons. Jalen ended up having a big game. Dragons take a 31-10 lead at that time and end up holding on for 31-17 win it.
Yeah, it was great to see another explosive play. I think we had 11 explosive plays in the game, and any time that you can be explosive and possess the ball at different times throughout the game, you're excited about that. You want to have that balanced approach, but it was great to see him, catch a screen out to him and take it 70 yards. I mean, it was awesome to see that alignment tag pay off.
You mentioned the 11 explosive plays. Is there a number at your goal for explosive plays in the game?
Yeah, more than the other team. That's the number. There's a couple indicators of winning football and explosive. Who wins the explosive play battle? Who wins the turnover battle? Time of possession still matters. Field position, your starting line on special teams. Those are the things that we're looking into when we look back and look at our stats. So that was a good one for us to win on.
Here's some of the stats I highlighted here from the game. Dragons ran the ball 33 times for 145 yards. Your defense held them to 38 yards on 31 carries. That's fabulous run stop by your defense. Passing, the Dragons were 20-27, 1 interception, but 4 touchdowns. But then on the other side, Wayne State goes 16-27, and your defense is able to turn them over 3 times with interceptions as well. Very opportunistic defense. The Dragons have been like that for the last few years, and it seems like that's continuing this year.
Yeah, I was really pleased with how our defense played. There was 2 drives in there that the next day we spoke about needing to be much better. But outside of that, when we looked at the stats and we watched the film, the first thing you want to do is stop the run, and they did a great job.
Yep.
Our defense did an awesome job of stopping that rushing attack. And Wayne State, known for being a team that'll run some triple option stuff, we had to be disciplined, and I was really pleased with specifically with our front seven guys there on our defense, and then the back half, our ability to take the ball away and intercept the football like we did. It was a complete game that our defense played, and the challenge moving forward is to play 60 minutes. I felt like we played 50 good minutes of football on defense. That other 10 minutes, we've got to take care of business.
Well, they say you improve the most, or you learn the most by your team from week 1 to week 2. So we'll see how the Dragons do this Saturday. We'll get to that game in just a moment. Total offense, the Dragons almost 200 yards more than Wayne State. 60 plays for 374, 58 for 176. And I think both teams will look at this stat and say we got to do a better job of that. Between the two teams, the ball on the ground 6 times. 5 of those results in turnovers. Dragons put on the ground 4 times on last Thursday night.
Yeah, and that was disappointing. We work hard in practice and talk a lot about ball security, but and a couple of our turnovers were inside the 5. We're going into score. We've got to protect the football better, and that's something that playing moving forward and playing a good team this week in Lenore-Ryan, we can't turn the ball over like that and expect to win. So a lot to clean up, and like you said, between weeks 1 and weeks 2, you expect to improve the most throughout the season. So we're really trying to improve upon the things that we didn't do as well, and that being one of them. It was great that our defense was able to take the ball away from Wayne State, but we've got to do a better job on offense of not putting the ball on the ground and not turning it over, especially inside that red zone.
Both teams a lot of penalties on Thursday night. Both teams 11. That was a theme for Lenore-Ryan. They had 10 penalties in their opening game as well. So I'm sure that's something else that's a focus to clean that up a little bit. That could be a result of game 1. We'll see how that results in game 2.
Yeah, and some of those things are pre-snap penalties. We want to eliminate the pre-snap penalties. We look at penalties in 2 different ways. The pre-snap penalties and the mental errors, those have got to be fixed, and those are completely avoidable. There's a couple penalties in there. We had a hold or 2 that guys were giving a lot of effort, and we really put an emphasis on blocking. And honestly, you don't want holding penalties, but if a guy's giving great effort and he's really trying hard to do his job, we'll fix the technique. But you love to see the effort there as well. So the discipline needs to improve as far as we can't hurt ourselves on penalties, and we can never have personal foul penalties. Those ones gotta not
15 yards will hurt you so quick.
Exactly. So that's just how our mind works as coaches here in how we look at penalties.
And this is coming from a guy who never had a holding penalty in college, right? Got him to smile and laugh a little bit. Let's take a look at your opponent this week. Lenore-Ryan, it's going to be a tough one. This is one of the better game matchups, I think, in the country this week in Division II. Lenore-Ryan, preseason started at number 9 in the country. I believe that's still where they're sitting right now in the rankings. Took on a pretty good Bowie State team last week. 32-19 win. They were up 16-6. On them at halftime. Our defense actually got him a safety in the second quarter. Boy, it looks like you're going to have your hands full with their running back. Xavier, what's his name? Turner Knox, 30 carries, 212, 3 touchdowns. 30 carries, that means emphasis on getting that young man the football.
Yeah, and really, if you look at their offense, defense, special teams, they're good in all 3 phases. So we're going to have to play a complete game, and we're expecting to play a complete game. That's as we studied Lenore-Ryan and as we talked as a team, we need to eliminate some of those mistakes that we had in week 1, and we need to go in expecting this to be a really competitive football game. And honestly, our team is excited for the challenge, and they are a good football team. We feel like we're a good football team as well, and we're excited to go in and play a great game.
Yeah, coming up this Saturday is 1 o'clock kickoff down in Hickory, North Carolina, when the Dragons take on Lenore-Ryan. Jalen Ferguson's their quarterback. He went 17 of 27, 270. Had 1 touchdown, did have an interception as well. But their defense, much like your defense, was able to get a couple turnovers too. So tell us a little bit about what they like to do on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, defensively, they're going to do similar things to us. They're going to try to stop the run. And they did a good job of that against Bowie. I know Bowie probably had more yards than they may have liked, but they really made Bowie a one-dimensional team, and that's something that we saw on film. They're going to try to stop us in the run game and force us to be one-dimensional. They're going to apply some pressure, and we know that we've studied them hard, and they've got great players, and they're going to be a good, formidable opponent, and we've got to bring our A game offensively.
Well, on the offensive side of the football, I mentioned their running back getting 30 carries, but they were pretty balanced as a team. 34 rushes, 28 passes. So I'm sure their offense is going to cause some troubles for you guys. You got to figure out between now and Saturday.
Yeah, our defense is going to need to play. The same mentality's got to remain true from week 1 to week 2. We've got to stop them rushing the football, but they've also got talent on the perimeter. They've got a couple great receivers that were explosive in game one. So our plan and our approach, it's not just about stopping the run. You got to stop the run first, but we've got to be ready to play a complete game on both sides of the ball because they are talented. They've got a great offensive line. Again, their quarterback can get the ball out to those guys on the perimeter, and those guys are explosive, and then they can run the football as well. So when you're looking at a good team, there's not going to be many holes,
right.
And we've got to expect to go in and play a competitive football game, and we've got to play a complete game. Our plan is to make sure that we go out and we attack them in every single way. Both offensively, defensively, and in special teams, which is going to be it's a big task, but it's one that we're preparing hard for.
Special teams, I thought, were pretty good for you there on Thursday night. Young man Weir's making his first start as a punter, did a good job. I think both punters for Wayne State and Tiffin did a good job on Thursday night. But how about the special teams? I thought they performed pretty well for you on Thursday.
We were pleased with the special teams. You know, Ryan Young, our long snapper, he's coming back. He's an experienced player. But yeah, Joseph Weirs and Ben Rudolph are both new specialists for us, and I thought handled the pressure well. And Joseph flipped the field for us a couple times. I think it was his second punt that Jalen Cole's downed inside the 5-yard line. That's
so
awesome
huge.
To see.
That is so huge to be able to do that.
It is. So we were pleased with. We worked really hard at special teams this spring and in fall camp. So we were pleased that we went out and felt like we executed well there. And then Ben Rudolph, being a freshman coming into his first game, you never know. It's a little different than practice when you get out there.
He looked pretty calm.
He was calm. He came off the field after his first kickoff, smiling ear to ear, and then knocked through his first field goal and extra point, and he was smiling just like that.
The man's having fun.
Yeah, he wasn't worried. Maybe I was a little bit more worried than he was. So it was good to see.
Well, the Dragons, we said, are taking on Lenore-Rhine this Saturday. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff out of the radio call on WTUD, TUDragonradio.com, as well as at Coast Country 100.9 on your FM dial. And, Coach, we can talk about Lenore-Rhine all we want, but it really comes down to what the Dragons do on the football field this Saturday. So give the folks a little preview of what they're going to see from your kids this Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case in every game. It's if you want to be successful as a program, it's all about if we can execute, and that's always our push. You've got to have a great game plan against anybody you play, and we're going to have a great game plan against Lenore-Rhine. We need to run the ball effectively on offense. We need to win the explosive play battle. These are the things that I spoke about.
One more than them,
before.
at least.
Yeah. Defensively, we need to not give up the big play. We need to bend but not break and force them to drive the football and play really solid. And then we have to win the special teams battle in order to win the game. So they've got great special teams. They're going to put pressure on us. We've got to execute. We've got to do our job when it comes to special teams. And honestly, in tight games, special teams is what's going to win or lose you the game. So we're expecting to have to play a complete game, and we know they're a very good team. We're excited about the ability to go out and play against Lenore-Rhine.
It's going to be a lot of fun to come on Saturday. And, Coach, before we wrap up, let's just take one more quick look back to Thursday. It was a very hot night. There was a lot of stuff going on in town, but how about that home crowd? I thought we had a great home crowd on that Thursday night home opener.
Yeah, it was awesome to see, and I think for me, being my first game, you don't know what to expect, and coming out to a crowd that was stands that were full, not only for me but for our team. I had so many guys come up to me after the game and talk about how excited they were that the stands were as crowded as they were. So our athletics department, our university, they did a great job promoting the night. And it really made the night special. So
Heidelberg was
awesome.
playing at home. We were playing at home. The NFL season was kicking off, and all the Dragon faithful still made it down to Frost County now. Pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, it was a great night, and we're looking forward to more home games, and hopefully we have some great support on the road here down in North Carolina.
Well, the Dragons, as I said, 1 o'clock kickoff. We'll catch this here on the radio side at noon, and then we'll join our pregame show at 12:30. 1 o'clock kickoff. The video links are available at the GoTippinDragons.com as well as at Lenore-Rhine's website. Again, the radio call at WTUD, TUDragonradio.com, and at Coast Country 100.9, part of the TU Dragon Football Radio Network. Well, Coach, safe travels. Go down and get us a W. Bring it back. Safe travels home. We'll sit down next week and talk about it and preview the following week.
Thanks, Russ. We're looking forward to it.
All right, this has been our look at Tiffin University football with Coach Brett Ekkens. I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons. We'll catch you next week.